Hello, welcome back to True Crime Cases, and today is going to be a bit different from Jack the Ripper, I suppose, because this one's more bizarre. So without further ado, I just think we should just get into it, because this one is going to be a short one at least. So let's get into today's case. Imagine walking through the streets of suburban Liverpool. It is 7:30 in November and you're alone waiting for your bus home after you go and see your girlfriend. It's dark and then you blink and then there's a 6'5" tall man who is a bodybuilder weighing 25 stone. He bizarrely asks you if you can squeeze your muscles. This is the sort of case we're getting into today, and this is just the cold intro I've written, so yeah, just bear with. You are understandably freaked out and confused. The man is the boogeyman who you heard from your friends who you play football with. You refuse and he starts getting verbally abusive, so you start running away from the bus stop back home. Slowly chasing you at walking speed, but he still manages to keep up with you. For fuck's sake. You ran for about 45 minutes back home, and when you wander into your house, you tell your father what happened. Your father goes outside to confront this man, and he manages to slip back into the shadows. I can't believe I'm saying this. This is the case of Purple Aki, the man who squeezes muscles. Akindele was born on the 15th of July 1961 in Manchester, England. He is from Nigerian descent. His mother was a secretarial student in Manchester University, but he didn't really know who his father is, which in a lot of true crime cases you will come across in the future. That could be a theme, parenting. He was placed into a care home in North Wales in Llandudno. It was a Bernardo's care home. His mother actually placed him in here. So another thing you will discover doing more of these true crime cases are abandonment by parents or poor parenting, because that's where a lot of criminals city their sort of origins to. After leaving the care home, Akindele returned to the northwest of England and settled in Liverpool. While in Liverpool, he began working as a cleaner for Mersey Tunnel. He started to frequent many of the gyms in the area. As you would expect, a big 6'5" man who is very good at increasing his body mass in muscle and fat would start becoming a bodybuilder. And a lot of people in this gym, mainly young people below the age of 25, has discovered Akindele's strange behaviour. And this is where it gets weird. He would ask to squeeze men's muscles, but he would mainly approach teenagers and young men. This is where a lot of the legend around him began. Akindele would be in the public eye after stalking and ultimately causing the death of Gary Kelly. And I'm going to throw a big allegedly in there, because you can't say he completely caused death. But yeah, Gary Kelly was a 16-year-old man from Birkenhead. When he met Akindele in 1986, Kelly was about to leave his girlfriend's house. Besides the house, there was a walkway where Akindele was hiding. Kelly left the home and Akindele approached him. Gary Kelly was feeling uncomfortable when he was asked by Akindele for him to feel Kelly's muscles. And this is where it gets even more stranger, because following this, he turned around and asked Kelly to squat him. Yes, so basically Akindele would be on his back, facing downwards, so you can wonder what is on his back, and he would squat him. And you can imagine what he felt on his shoulders. Gary Kelly returned home, obviously, and told his parents about it. Like you would. And his parents decided to go to the police. And unlucky for Arabike, he basically told him his name, so he was quite easy to find for the police. And he was arrested. But ultimately, without evidence or charges, Arabike was released. And obviously, it won't be the last time Kelly would see Arabike, because on June the 15th, 1986, was a really, really hot day in the New Brighton area of Liverpool. Gary was in a local swimming pool with his friends, and he was leaving the pool. He spotted Arabike, who was watching him. Kelly left his friends and ran to New Brighton railway station, hoping to lose Arabike on the way. As it was the end of the line, on the end of the train line, Kelly jumped onto the tracks and onto a train, a parked train, to escape Arabike. Obviously checking if the coast is clear, you could still see Arabike was standing on the platform looking for him. Just silently and eerily looking for him. In an attempt to invade the attention of Arabike, he jumped off the train onto the railway tracks. And sadly, Gary Kelly took 750 volts in an electric shock caused by the railway track and died on arrival to hospital. After, obviously, this, Gary Kelly left his pregnant girlfriend at home. Following this, Arabike was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter of Gary Kelly, alongside indecent assault charges and harassment of 14 different boys who came forward after the news of Gary Kelly broke. He was sentenced to only 13 months in prison. 30 months. Ridiculous. The judge decided that Arabike's presence on the platform caused Kelly's death. And how mental this sounds. Over muscles. That someone has lost their life. But we'll go on with the story, because it's not the end of the Gary Kelly and Arabike case. Arabike appealed his sentence in 1988. He argued that merely standing on the platform did not constitute the criminal offence. The judges agreed, and the evidence did not show that Arabike had any physically threatened or chased Kelly. The Court of Appeal overturned the convictions, and he was freed. Following this, though, he carried on harassing men across Merseyside, asking to squeeze their muscles and to squat them. But things have changed. A rugby league player reported to his club in 1997 that he was being stalked and followed by Arabike. A warning was sent out to the rest of the rugby league. Bear in mind, rugby league is played in all this area like St Helens, Widnes, Leeds, Bradford, places near him. And rugby league is more physical, more athletic than rugby union, I would say, muscular wise. And many clubs reported that Arabike posed as a press officer just to get into these clubs. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison for this. And after being released in 2007, of course, he did it all again. A special order had to be passed. The court ultimately banned Arabike from touching people's muscles and asking men to squat him, which you think would be a legal thing anyway. This new sexual assault order would protect the public from previous crimes committed by Arabike. This special sexual offence or prevention order designed for him was normally passed by magistrates, but Merseyside police requested it to be passed. And that's not all. He was also banned from entering the cities of Wakefield, St Helens and Widnes. He only could enter if the police gave him special permission, which was normally rejected. It also prevented loitering around schools, gyms and sports clubs. So any places where you think you'd see Arabike, you won't, because he is banned from there. All these court orders were put in place following this. But did he follow it? No, of course not. Arabike was prisoned several times between 2007 and 2015. First was in 2007, when he was in prison for squeezing a man's muscles without the man's permission in Preston, in a shopping centre. He was sentenced to 15 months in prison, and again in 2008 he was in prison for feeling the muscles of a 17-year-old boy from Birkenhead and sentenced to 18 months. What is up with him and under 18s in Birkenhead? In April 2010, Arabike appeared in court in the Welsh town of Mold, having been charged with further offences on the 24th of June 2010 after the jury found him guilty of touching a calf and quadricep muscle of a 6-year-old boy in Llandudno. The judge said Arabike was a sexual predator and jailed him for 2.5 years. And again, after that, on October the 1st, 2015, Arabike was once again found guilty of breaching his sexual prevention order, having asked to touch and measure the muscles of a student travelling on a River Trains rail service from Manchester Piccadilly to Colwyn Bay. This was back in 2013 actually, but he obviously got prosecuted. A couple of years after he got out of prison for the Llandudno incident. Basically, the jury unanimously and very quickly convicted him. But he did started winning his court cases, and also his ban was lifted. We're going to start with the ban though. That would be the last time in 2015 that Arabike was convicted, because in May 2016, Judge Richard Mansell indicated that breaching his order was no longer a serious matter, so it was lifted. He also stated that it could no longer be justified, and it was very draconian. So more charges come against Arabike, the more chance he can defend himself and win them. So he did start winning his court cases, and the first one was basically a big one, because he sued the Manchester police and he won his case in June 2020. He received an undisclosed fee after he was targeted and harassed by 2 police officers. The irony in him suing someone for harassment is unbelievable. And then other complaints that he made was racial discrimination, which was firstly against the BBC after they had a documentary called Purple Aki, The Man Who Squeezes Muscles, or The Search for Purple Aki is another one. He stated that the documentary was racist after bringing up his ethnicity multiple times in a very negative way. And that is just because they're using a lot of slang terms which are very, very dated in there. And it really, I watched the documentary, it's quite shocking how the BBC actually aired that. Even though this documentary came out in 2017-18, it was still quite bad that they aired it. And secondly, in 2017, Solita Bar and Grill, which owns 4 restaurants in Manchester, apologising, naming it burger Purple Teriyaki in reference to Arabike's nickname. After complaints that the name could be constructed as racist, the restaurant had posted name on Twitter with a photo sign which included an arm squeezing a bicep. you gotta like respect the guts this restaurant have taken on this. It's just unbelievable. So now, where is Arabike? He is now 60 years old and he is a semi-popular face on the internet, mainly on TikTok. The boogeyman of Merseyside isn't as feared as he was in the 80s and 90s. Like I said, he's become an internet celebrity and occasionally a meme. But more recently, he has appeared on TikTok as a lot of teenagers are aiming fireworks off him on Wavertree Street, Liverpool in November 2021. Basically, they caught him in the street, standing on the side of the road. Some lads telling him like to get up the area, and then another group of boys who noticed him started shooting rockets at him. Luckily, they missed him because there's a lot of serious injuries that will come up there. But let's carry on. He is normally spotted in the streets of the north of England and Wales, where they carry a bag and a box of Mr. Kipling's biscuits. But has Arabike changed? No, he hasn't. Of course he hasn't. This tweet says why. Because a tweet a couple of months ago basically shows him asking a man what type of lifts he does. But obviously, sadly, tabloid newspapers constantly cover him. Any sighting of him is like an urban legend. Like you've seen something like the Loch Ness Monster, which at the end of the day, he's a human being. He's a normal person. Don't treat this person as an urban legend, because he isn't. He's just a normal person with previous criminal convictions for doing something very bizarre. So yeah, that's it. I don't know what to say. That was quite a fun one to research, actually. I'm not gonna lie. That is the bizarre case of Purple Aki, or Arabike if you like to call him. Akinwa Arabike is his real name, because Purple Aki is quite offensive. I know I shouldn't really be saying it on video, but that's what he's most well known as. But I did hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new in this true crime case. It's a bit more lighter than the previous episode, the Jack the Ripper one. Although he didn't brutally murder 5 prostitutes, but okay. Still, it involves death in this one, which is tragic. But if you do want to see more true crime cases, why not subscribe and turn on the notification. Next video I will be doing an exploring video. Do I reveal it? Yeah, it's Morales Castle in Merthyr. It looks pretty cool. It's an abandoned castle on the mountain and the land is literally, like, nature's overtaken it. Like, it's claimed it back. It looks really, really sick. It does. That will be the next video on this channel. But true crime cases will be back with the Glasgow righteous killer Bible John. So until next time, guys, I'll see you then.